What's up, boys and girls? Welcome to episode 2 of the mighty HQ wagon build. As promised, we've got the old 186 on the dyno to do some baseline runs, so let's see who was closest. So we'll do some baseline runs. I'll show you a bit more around the car, and then I want to talk to you a little bit about the plan, and that's going to be it for this episode, because we can't actually start on the car until we have another car that's in near finish, which will hopefully be in another few days. But that's all I can really do for this episode for you guys. But we'll go through the exact plan, the running gear, everything that's going to be happening with the car, everyone who's doing what, and that'll be today's episode. So let's see what the mighty 186 can do. There you go, guys. The mighty 186 is a force to be reckoned with, obviously. We've got a big old 73 horsepower, 73 and a half horsepower at the wheels, if you want to be generous, if you want to call it that. So at least it's bloody consistent, but that's where we're starting with. I think we can probably do a little bit better than that with our turbo Barra. So I don't know who won, because obviously I've filmed this long before I even released the last video. So whoever was closest though, congratulations. I'll put your username in the video here somewhere. Shoot me a message on Facebook or Instagram or something, probably Instagram, I don't really get on Facebook much, to the Boostgumps Instagram page, and get in contact with me, give me your address and stuff, and I'll send you the shirt as promised. So let's have a bit more of a look around the car. I'll show you a bit more of how cool this freaking thing is. We are frothing at this thing. Alrighty guys, so as you can see, this HQ is straight as an arrow. Forgive the fact that it's dusty. Obviously here we have a lot of dirt driveways. Things just get dusty here. It is just the nature of this place. It's very unfortunate, it's annoying, but it is what it is. And obviously we don't touch anything to anybody's cars. You know, the best we'll do is just give them a hose down and get the dust off them, but we don't go touching people's paintwork. We're far too worried about damaging people's pride and joy in that way by touching them with anything while they're here. So we don't do any of that. So excuse the fact that it's not super clean at the moment, but it's gone a long road ahead of it as far as the build goes. So I'm not super worried about that just at this minute, but anyway. So let's get into the plan for the build. So obviously, as you already saw from the last episode, I'm standing in front of here all of the equipment that came out of our green top Barra. So it's a BF gas motor, so it's got the good 3R rods in it, which are what we wanted. We are doing just a stock bottom end rebuild on this thing. We've got some new OEM rod bolts because those are torque to yield. We've got to reuse the main bolts because they're not torque to yield. And then it's just going to be fresh bearings and rings. We are doing a NLS head gasket with some ARP head studs, some good valve springs, some billet oil pump gears, and oil pump backing plate, and that pretty much rounds out the build, and a heavy duty timing set, so an atomic heavy duty timing set, and that is essentially what the build of the engine is going to be. Just basically your very standard Barra upgrades for a gas bottom end. Should be good, fine for 600 horsepower, and that's all we really want to do with this car. As you probably saw from the pics of the interior, it's the old 3 on the tree, the 186. It's a 3-speed manual on the tree. We really wanted to keep the shifter on the tree. As you can see, the interior has already all been trimmed. So we want to go auto with this thing. We've chosen to go turbo 400 because it is pretty much the best combination of a strong box with a 3-speed. And it obviously came in HQ, or it came in a H series, so easy enough to fit in a HQ. So what we've decided to do is source a 3-speed automatic column from a bloke from down south in New South Wales. So we managed to source an automatic column, which is awesome. And then we're going to be using a low car customs shifter cable bracket assembly thing. I'll show you it when we unbox it, but what it is basically a billet bracketry system that converts to cable for the column shift so that you can use it with things like a Turbo 400. So that way we're going to keep our column shift auto Turbo 400. Our box builder Danny from Lunatech Racing is taking care of the Turbo 400 for us. So it's basically just a little bit beefed up Turbo 400 to handle the power we want to make. It's not huge power rating because we wanted to stay auto. So it's very important to the owner of this car that it stayed auto. So it's just a full auto valve body. We got Craig at As New Transmission Products taking care of the converter for us. We're using an atomic flex plate so that we can use a GM front plate for the converter. So we'll have a 2800 RPM red diamond converter to suit the Turbo 400 from the Barra. So that's basically the gearbox setup and how the shift is going to be. Now the rear end of the car, we've got a 9-inch being built. So I got onto Top Cog there at Caloundra. Dude is an absolute legend. He sorted us out a center, a pumpkin, a pair of axles, and all of the bracketry that we need to put it on. He then put me onto Damien from Full Throttle Customs in Beenleigh, and I've taken all that diff stuff down to Damien to actually fabricate the diff up for us. So Damien there at Full Throttle Customs will be doing the actual fabrication of the diff. The center and everything else has been sorted out by Top Cog, and we're really looking forward to this 9-inch. So, you know, as far as the car goes, we're only shooting for around that 600 horsepower, keeping the gearbox auto and everything else, but the actual, you know, the car and the diff will be ready to handle 1,000 plus one day if the owner ever wants to go that way. So that's the diff setup. Obviously then we'll have a tail shaft built to suit that. The customer already has a full set of bare brakes to go on it, so we've got some bare brakes to go front and rear. It's already got them on the front. He's also got a complete United Speed Shop coilover setup for this car. Already got the coilovers in the front of this thing, so we just got to fabricate those brackets onto the diff so that we can put the coilovers in the rear end. So as you can see, it's going to be big brakes, coilovers all around, 600 horsepower turbo Barra, you know, 600 horsepower on a high boost sort of E85 tune. We're looking to go flex fuel with this thing. Turbo 400. It's going to be a freaking awesome setup. So as far as controlling the car, we're going to be going Haltech. We've got a Haltech Elite 2500 as well as a Haltech IC7 display to go in this thing. We've got to try and find somewhere nice to sort of mount the display where it's going to look pretty good. We've got the boys down there at Whitey's Wiring at Clontarf taking care of all the wiring for us. So he's going to be wiring in the whole show. As far as the rest of the setup around the engine, we've got Zoo Performance on board. So Zoo's going to be giving us one of their very, very new forward-facing intake plenums as well as one of their throttle bodies. We're going to be leaving this thing cable throttle, so we can leave the cable throttle in it. As much as there are huge advantages to going fly-by-wire, I think keeping it cable just keeps it that old school feel, and we get to not play too much around with the pedal and everything else like that. So we're going to be leaving it cable throttle. For the hot side, we've got ourselves a 6-boost T4 twin scroll manifold, and we're going to be running a Pulsar G35 900 on this thing. Figured it was a good compromise of easily getting us to our power figures that we want to get to, but being nice and small, this thing should be a bit of a weapon to drive. Should be a really nice early power curve. It should be nice and broad, especially coupled with this converter that we're going to be going. So along with the Turbo 400, the 9-inch is going to have 3 1/4 gears, so 325. So this thing should be a really nice little cruiser. It should be freaking awesome fun. It should be great. So as well as all that, the actual exhaust pipework, intake pipework, all that sort of fabrication is going to be taken care of by Ryan there at Elite Fabworks in Aura down in Caloundra. So Ryan's fairly recently started his own shop there at Elite Fabworks, and I've known Ryan for quite a while. I've been following him for quite a while, and I do believe that he's the best fab work that money can buy. So I got onto him to fabricate all of the pipe work and everything for us, and I'd actually already booked that in before I actually found out about Damien Full Throttle Customs doing the diff for us. So that's why there's sort of more than one fab shop involved, but both of them boys are absolutely flat out, and both of them are incredible at what they do. So pretty excited to have all of these people putting their little mark on this car, and hopefully the end result is a sort of street machine worthy build that, like I said, some people are going to love it, some people will hate it, but either way it's going to be a nice little build. So as well as those already mentioned, huge big shout out and thanks to barratheworld.com. They've really come on board with this build as well. They're going to be supplying just about everything that we're using as far as the engine work and everything goes. Almost everything that I haven't already explained, they're pretty much supplying. So all of the bearings, rings, timing set, they're going to be pretty much supplying all that stuff. We're going to be using the Zoo Performance billet gears and backing plate, so excited for that to get here and check all the tolerances and get that happening as well. Pretty basic Barra setup. You know, really, as far as the engine and that goes, there's nothing super special. We've got an FG sump on the way, which is coming from barratheworld.com, so that we can modify that to fit in the HQ. We've also got FG engine covers and coil covers and everything coming from barratheworld.com because they are much better looking than the B series ones. So yeah, huge thanks to barratheworld.com. They've had a lot to do with the planning stages and getting this to where it is now, and supplying a lot of the stuff for the engine. So huge shout out to them. I'll explain more about all these little finer things as we go through it, but I just wanted to give you a bit of a rundown of what the car is going to be, what the plan is, and you know, what we're aiming for to achieve with this car. So as well as all that I've just talked about, the owner sent down a full aftermarket air conditioning setup to go in the car, so we haven't yet had a look at that and how that's going to fit. So it's going to be a bit squishy. So up in the front end we're going to be running a Zoo Performance intercooler, as well as twin PWR coolers, one for engine oil, one for trans fluid, plus with this aftermarket AC setup we've got a condenser to fit in there, and then as well as the radiator, all without having to do, I don't want to do much cutting up of the front end or anything, and we wanted to keep it fairly sleeperish. So we're really hoping we can fit all that in there alright. The owner's been very specific about leaving the pea shooter decoy out the back, and not running the barra exhaust all the way out the back. I want to try and keep it like nice and quiet, and hopefully at idle it just has that real just that real tinkery 186 sound, and try and keep this fairly sleeperish. So that's pretty much the build. As I said in the last episode, we don't have much time to get this done. We're cutting it fine. We really have been busting ass to get it sorted up until this point. Even so much work has already gone into this, it's not even funny, just as far as running around, organising, getting stuff to where it needs to be. So the centre and axles and everything's already done. All that stuff is currently at Full Throttle Customs getting fabricated now. The gearbox builder has had the gearbox getting built for quite a while now. It should be ready for me to pick up very soon. As you can see, we just managed to snag an engine. Finding an engine came down to the wire. We only got one literally on Friday just gone. It's now Monday. We only got this engine on Friday and pulled it down and got it ready. So it's come down to the wire to get the engine. We're still waiting on a few things to get here, but yeah, it's been pretty full on. So the plan is to try and have this thing done by Christmas. It's a lot of work to do, and we can't even start it today, so it's gonna be hectic. Anyway, that's enough blabbing from me. Just hope you've enjoyed this little bit of an insight of to what the actual project is, what the plan is, who's doing what, and what we're aiming for as a final result. And I hope you're looking forward to this build, because we're freaking pumped. We are absolutely gawking over this car. It's beautiful. Anyway guys, I'm going to get this block and head to the machine shop so they can get it underway ASAP, so we can get this built this week. And yeah, we'll take you along for the ride of trying to get this smashed out ASAP, as well as trying to get some pretty good content for you guys. But yeah, it's going to be a big job. So thanks for watching. As always, drop a comment, smash like, smash subscribe. If you won the bloody t-shirt, congratulations. Thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace out, see you, bye.